Hello again. I'm still Bianca from the Ukrainian Actors and Actresses fandom, and you are wondering, we didn't just change our outfits, but
Mhm.
since Evan had to run last time, we decided to do
Mhm.
a second part. So
Yes, this
welcome
is gonna be
back,
part.
Evan Camacho.
It's glad to be back, but yes, I'm getting ready for part two.
Yeah, let's get back where we end last time. And by the
Mhm.
way, we are not alone.
Yeah, this say hello to Nero. This is my little buddy. He wants attention and love. He thinks there's someone else here,
Yeah.
so so he thinks someone else is there to pet him. Unfortunately, it's just me.
But welcome, Nero.
Mhm.
Now, we didn't have last time the chance to talk about Ukrainian verticals.
No.
My question is, did how did you discover Ukrainian verticals, or maybe did you even watch one or another, or just sneak peeks?
I think mostly with that, I mostly saw sneak peeks because they don't usually say where they're from. And even then, there are companies that have, I wish I had better words then, but they'll have setups in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And so I didn't, it might have been a funny case of, oh, I watched a Ukrainian vertical, but I didn't know it was a Ukrainian vertical. And obviously, there are those who, when they speak Ukrainian, it's fairly obvious. But what I liked about one that I think that came out recently, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a period piece and the costumes were incredible. And I'm like,
Um,
I want to do that one so bad. I would love to
y-
do
was it
period piece.
a show with the Sultan?
Yes, it was.
It's Sultan's Heart on drama shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And I
It
can
looked
say some.
so cool.
I love it, especially I'm a huge fan of a Turkish series. It's called The
Mhm.
Magnificent Century, and you
Okay.
can watch it on YouTube. There are, I guess, around 140 episodes, and each episode have the length of 45 to 60 minutes. And
Damn.
it's all about Sultan Süleyman the First of the Ottoman Emperor. And
I'm a huge history buff, so he is Solomon the Magnificent.
yeah, yeah. And it was a very famous show in Turkey. Many people loved it, but many people disliked it because it showed that Sultan Suleiman had a lot of women.
Yes.
That was a problem. But sure, it's they wrote a script to it, but many parts of the show, the people who are named in the show, or the locations where are they shooting, and so on, they are original people which used to live once. And I
Mhm.
can say that because I traveled a lot with my parents to Turkey while I been a teenager and a child with a caravan.
Very
So
cool.
I've been at many places which were named in the show.
Mm.
And I only watched it. It was the sound was in Turkish, but I read all the time English subtitles, and I was
Right.
binging the show.
Mhm.
And for example, what I really liked in the Ukrainian version is they took some things in it, how the Turkish people would say it. So, for example, the mother of the Sultan, it's
Mhm.
called Valide Sultana. And in this one, they called her Valide Sultan. They kept with the original definition of the mother of the Sultan.
Mhm.
And so on. And I was wondering where they shooting it, and I know it's an private property directly in Kiev, and I could see the Google link, and it shows from the outside of the property, and it really looks like a palace. It's amazing, and I really, really love the show too. I really
Mhm.
do, and I need more of that. Especially
Yes.
the lead actor fits so well this costume, and I really love it. I can give you after the recording some
Please
recommendation
do. Yes.
because there are at the moment, because today or yesterday evening there was just a new release on Drama Shots of a new show. It's called How I Became His Virgin Muse with Pierre
Okay.
Loger and Angelina Samcik Tranfil. Oh, I always have problems with the last name. Tranfilinova. I'm sorry, Angelina, if I said it wrong. And
Yes.
I just watched it and it's amazing again. For example, Pierre Loger, he is a French actor.
Oh, okay.
And he been now,
Does he speak Russian or sorry, does
no,
he speak
it's all in English.
Oh,
It's all in
wonderful.
English. And he been now for 5 times in Kiev and shot their verticals and shorts for YouTube. He did a lot there. And that's what I'm always hearing of these actors from abroad who travel to Ukraine to shoot their project. They all said, "Oh, I would go back immediately."
I Everyone I've talked to that has gone to either Istanbul, which probably we make up Turkey. Anyone I've talked to who's gone to Istanbul or has gone to Kiev
Yeah.
has loved it. They've absolutely loved it. That that's my that is also my dream as an actor is not only to work but to be able to travel for projects because how awesome is it to go somewhere and mind you I've never gone to Kiev. I've never gone to
Yeah.
Istanbul. I've gotten close. I went to Greece. Sadly,
Yeah.
that was a vacation rather than a paid opportunity. And I feel the same way about like Morocco and New Zealand, where it's I would love more than anything to be sent there to film because then I can tell I can tell the companies don't buy me a return ticket. I want to explore for at least another week
Or
because
let them buy you a
that would
ticket. Let them buy you the ticket for the way back, but extend the date
do
of
an
the
extension. Yes,
fly back.
yes, that would
Yeah,
be
and
something.
I mean,
Get it's like I'm ready. I'd love to be out there and I know I have a very I have a very period piece look. Look, I love not the modern century because it's so fun to get dressed up in costumes like that and it just looks amazing. I think we talked a little bit about this last time with period pieces was that the biggest problem with doing them is budget and most of the time it has to do with
yeah,
costumes because even
yeah,
modern day even something within the past 40 years getting costumes for that is tricky
yeah,
even I think we had this conversation too where like military uniforms like fake military uniforms forms which is why I've noticed
yes,
they don't do as many military verticals as they used to they did a lot they did a lot like the last six
yeah,
months of 2025
yeah,
there were a lot of them and in this particular one they're just not because the general uniforms those type of uniforms those are expensive with all the medals and stuff like that that's all it's very expensive to make and it's one of those where it's like because it's the military it has to look good and period pieces are kind of the same way where they do have to look good as well.
yeah. That's always a problem because you can't just get any cheap clothes.
Mm-mm.
It's have to
Mm.
look original.
Right.
But it's with so many genres where they should take care more of the details, like in
Hmm.
hospitals or wherever.
Yeah, we
They
said
make so many
hospitals.
mistakes in it. But
Thank you.
because mostly of the budget and time.
Yeah, budget and time. It's also one of these where it's like you have to get these
Ah,
done very, very quickly. You literally don't have time to you literally don't have time to teach these folks because these have to be that's the other thing is that verticals have to be done very, very quickly. They don't you
yeah,
do not have time to do this. You have to get this done in 3 weeks. You're filming they're getting a little bit longer now.
yeah,
There was a time where there was a time, and it varies now. There used to be where it was regularly 10 days of filming, then it shrunk to like 6 or 7. I've seen as little as 5 days of filming, and it's like you have to do 80 pages, 80 plus pages in 5 days. That's a lot. So
oh,
it's tough. It's very tough.
yeah. And I mean, the pace in Ukraine is the same as everywhere else in the world. The
Hmm.
only difference is that sometimes the shooting have to be stopped because of the air raid alerts.
Oh, jeez.
Because yeah, it is an active war zone. But to explain it, Ukrainians don't always go to shelters. It's always depending on what threat it is.
Hmm.
Sometimes they don't go to shelters because it's not necessary. But sometimes the crew have to decide, hey, we're going to a shelter. And then you never know, does it take maybe 5 minutes or 5 hours? And you still
Hmm.
have to make the show in the planned schedule. Because some
Hmm.
of these actors have back-to-back projects.
Right.
Sometimes they rewrite the script a little bit if it's necessary, or sometimes they reschedule maybe one shooting day to another time when everyone can have time again.
Yeah.
But
Very rarely do they
usually,
do. pickups. They very rarely do pickups for verticals. Occasionally they do, but
Yeah.
very, very rarely do they have
And
to come in later on and do it.
yeah. And just to explain it, air raid alerts going mostly off at night, but sometimes during the day as well.
That's
And
terrifying.
but I spoke to Anton Skripets from Amo Pictures, and he told me it looks mostly more dangerous than it is, and they taking care of the actors who coming from abroad. For example, I spoke a while ago with Paulina. Paulina is a
Mhm.
personal and actress assistant. For example, if you would go to Kiev to shoot there, she would pick you up at the train station because you can't fly to Ukraine. For example, you have to fly to Warsaw, and from there you take a train to Kiev because the air space over Ukraine is locked.
Yeah.
And she will pick you up. She will show you around. She will explain everything to
Mhm.
you. They will give you some information what to do just in case of an emergency, where you have to go, what you have to do, etc.
Mhm.
And actors who going there, they will have an hotel in the center of Kiev, which have mostly an own shelter, or the shelter is really nearby. And she's always with you on set and taking care of you and helps you translate and so on. So,
But that was going to be my kind of biggest question is translation because I know most actors in the US don't speak Ukrainian.
no, it's
So,
not a problem. In Ukraine, it's also, I just posted today an interview which I had with Jason Wojna, and he is American
mhm.
and live in Ukraine,
Mhm.
in Kiev, since a while, and he is a English native speaker tutor on set. Because if it's a production of Amo Pictures,
Mhm.
they always have a native speaker on set who is tutoring these actors. So if you want to know what he's doing, for example, just take a look at the current interview which I posted. And
That's wonderful.
this is, I mean, there are a few native speaker in Ukraine who always could jump
Mhm.
in. And slowly, many of these actors speak English, but some of them don't
Mhm.
speak English at all. They only learn
Right.
the script. But and
Yes.
that's why Jason is on set and helping out them for each before each scene. They rehearse real quick, and he's always listening during the shooting, and that's how it works.
Good. No, that's
Yeah.
good.
And they're taking care a lot about it. I mean, there are more than Amo Pictures, well, production companies
Mhm.
like Amo Pictures, but Amo is the biggest one, and that's why I mentioned it so often. The others are not that present, I would say. There are not many of
Mhm.
them. But
Alma
also
Pictures
my
also films
drama,
in the United States. Yeah. My drama and Alma Pictures, they
yes,
film in the United States too. They have stuff that's
yes.
here.
Amo Picture is shooting also beside Ukraine in UK, USA, Canada, and Australia.
Mhm.
And in the USA, they're shooting in Atlanta and in LA. And
Okay.
in LA, it's a cooperation between Amo Pictures and TerraVision Production,
And I've auditioned for TerraVision. I think I've
which is
actually
an
worked with them
Ukrainian
before.
company as well.
That's amazing that sometimes and that's sometimes my experience with Ukrainian companies that it's like, oh, I actually interacted with them and I had no clue that I was doing it. So
Yeah.
talk about small world and
Yeah. I mean, with TerraVision, you would recognize it if you go to the set because the
Mhm.
crew is speaking Ukrainian.
Right.
And I think it's great that Amo Picture in this case is bringing the knowledge of how they shooting movies in Ukraine around the
Hmm.
world and not just in Ukraine,
Hmm.
because they are pretty damn good in what they are doing.
Yes. It's always a
Yeah, and
there's always something to be gained for just how different companies will do things because results are everything. If the results are fantastic, it
yes,
doesn't always matter. It doesn't always
yes,
matter how it's done. And really that also, in my opinion, translates very much to acting in a lot of ways, which is to me personally, what method you use, how you memorize, what emotional memories you use. If you use any of that, to me, as long as the performance is amazing, then how you got there isn't as super important. I personally advocate a little bit for and I might get some flack for this. I like the Leo DiCaprio sort of style of actor, which is they're the people who can, when they're in a scene, they're in a scene. And then the moment someone yells, cut, they'll just go, okay, moving on. What's for dinner? What's for lunch? Or what's our next scene? Do I have time to memorize? Stuff like that. Like that. That's also another thing that I like. One of the big practices, and we had to do that for. So I'm in the middle of one right now. Tomorrow is my day 4 of 4. So yay! And we had a scene. Day 1 was a 10-page scene, one conversation, one location, and
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in let's run those lines. Let's run those lines. Let's practice. Let's really practice. By the end of the day, we could do that 10-page scene all the way through. Like we didn't need to because
Yeah.
what was nice is that that's the other part that that I like is that when you've got a 10-12 page scene and you break it up into chunks, that allows the actors and even the crewmen
Yeah.
to just go, okay, we're just doing these 3 pages right now. Let's run these runs, and then they would say, okay, we're going to stop here at this. It's like, great, let's do it. And then you do all the coverage for that, and then you do that again, and then you do that again and again and again, and it can be tiring because
Yeah.
you're doing the same thing over and over again. But I also think it's a lot less stressful
Yeah.
than having to learn 5, 6, 7+ pages in one go and really trying to learn that because it's hard. It can be hard to memorize that much, and especially if it's a bunch of
I
bounce.
believe that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's not.
always impressed.
So on the other hand, there are some actors who happen to have the gift of memorization, where you can give them a script, they can look at it twice and go, "Okay, got it. Let's shoot it." And there are those who it's like, "Hold on, give me 5 minutes to run through it, run through it, run through it." And then the moment the director yells cut, the first thing they're doing is looking at their script to make sure that's like, okay, memorize, 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 and learn. And there's nothing wrong with either. There really isn't. Some people just learn different. That's why when when the question is, so how do you guys memorize all those lines?
Wonder about the camera angle would change because I had some problems with my device, so I switched my device and let's go on and hope that this connection is better now.
Yes.
Oh,
So, but I was talking a little bit about memorization, but really the stress of learning, the stress of having to learn your lines. Sometimes you don't know, and you don't usually know what your lines are until the day before.
that's
So,
crazy. That's crazy.
it's very intense. You learn to memorize very quickly because that's just how you do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm always impressed what you guys are doing because if I remember just the time while I went to school a long time ago, because I'm old, but to memorize, lines and so on, it was always hard for me.
I find it personally, I don't like memorizing lines, what I call in a vacuum, which is just nobody. If I am with someone and I'm able to run the scene a couple of times, usually I've got it
Yeah.
because it's in my body. That's my instrument is my body is my instrument as an actor. And I need to have the lines, I need to have the emotion, and I need to have the purpose. But once I do, it's almost like muscle memory.
Yeah.
I can do it kind of on autopilot, but that autopilot allows me to at least try to actively listen and use the energy that I have.
Yeah. No, I'm always impressed by that. And I don't know how you guys are doing it, especially if you going from one day to another and you are 12 hours a day on set and then you coming home and you would love to sleep, but you can't because you have to go on learning your lines.
Mm-hmm. Well, they say that is the hardest part sometimes about being a lead. I wouldn't know. I've never been one. But when you have to memorize all those lines and be in it for those 12 hours with usually not a lot of rest, it's hard. It's a very hard it can be a very hard experience. But from those who I've talked to, especially if you've been a lead more than 3, 4 times, you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah, but I must admit, sometimes it feels like the antagonists have more lines than the leads.
That is a definite point of contention, as is the pay gap between
Yeah,
them. There are those stars who are able to command larger salaries,
yeah,
but in general, if you're 3, 4 on the call sheet or the main villain, you maybe make half of what
yeah,
the leads are, sometimes a third. And there have been a lot of complaints about how the villains, both male and female, but especially female, are actually on screen more often than some of the leads,
yeah,
but they're getting paid half as much. They're not on the poster. They're not getting billed very high. So there's a little bit
yeah,
of there's some contention there. And honestly, I agree. I agree. The villain usually requires at least more, oftentimes requires more range. It will often require more energy, especially for the male villains. The male villains tend to be a bit bigger. They tend to be a bit more intense, whereas a lot of the male leads are the emotional range is not particularly high for most of them. There's
yeah,
exceptions, but most of the time those characters are they're very stoic. They're very
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
the
I know, I know. I recently posted an interview which I had with Zach Ireland.
Mhm.
He's an American but live in China, and he's also
Yes.
casting director. And
Mhm.
he said if he's a casting director for one show, he at least makes sure that, for example, the male lead and the female lead get the same salary.
Another massive point of contention.
Yes, and sometimes he said on the projects where he used to be the casting director, at least both had the same salary. If not, the female lead had more money because he said it depends of the labor, how much she have to do. And so he
Mhm.
listed how many lines got he, how many lines got her, and what is she's doing. And I guess he said also it could happen that the lead actress earn more money than the lead actor.
That's rare, but
That's
definitely
what
need.
he's taking
There was
comments,
the
listening to this
worst.
interview.
I know. Well, the worst pay disparity that I have heard of. And I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name numbers.
It doesn't matter the names.
But we'll put it. The guy literally made 6 times more per day than the girl. 6 times.
Yeah, and he said, for example, he got offered a lead role where they offered him 10 times more than she earned, and he said, I can't do that. It's impossible. And then they said, but we can pay you both the same. If you want to share your salary, we can do it. And he said, and on the end, he got 5 times more than her. But that shows
That's nuts.
how much pennies she actually was supposed to earn. And this is crazy. And I love him for that. That he is concerned about that and taking care of that.
Rightfully so. Well, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Again,
Yeah,
what thankfully we're starting to move away a bit from the abuse towards women, but it's still very much out there.
yeah, yeah.
In because it apparently sells, which make of that what you will. Some of this is a little bit grim, but we're fortunately starting to move away from it. But the amount of stuff that they have to put these actresses through, it's like, whoa, are
Yeah.
they getting properly paid for this? And if the answer is no, then we have a problem.
Yes, definitely. And I can tell you out of the community, many of us turning off verticals. If
Well,
there is too much,
I've heard they've added comments now to verticals as well.
I hope so.
They've now finally, I don't remember the apps though that started, so I'm not going to quote any of them, but I know that there are a few apps now that are allowing comments to be said.
That
So,
would be great because I'm always not recommending. I always ask for not just a like button for the vertical. I need a dislike button.
they started doing that. They started doing that with YouTube. YouTube stopped putting dislike stuff because they thought it was hurting their advertisements, which is kind of silly.
That's stupid. But I think since not all the viewers have review pages and so on, they need to be able to give the feedback. If they don't like something, these apps and production companies need to know that they didn't do well. And it
Mhm.
depends on not always the way how the actors were acting, but also
No.
How is the music? How is the sound? Because usually,
Sound is a big one.
yes, and
Sound's a big one.
yeah, and mostly the post-production mess it up. The
Mhm.
cast and the crew is doing an outstanding job. The story is great, but the post-production mess it up.
Well,
And
you've heard the phrase that like a movie is made or broken on the on the editing table.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
that is exactly that. There's a kind of a joke where like Star Wars, for example, famously, Star Wars was saved on the editing table. The way
yeah,
that it was originally kind of done was terrible. It was it was clunky, it was slow, it was very it wasn't as easy to follow. So George Lucas's wife went back basically and re-edited the whole thing. And that's more or
wow.
less what we got. That's more or less what we got. And they had to do it fast. They actually had to push back. They had to push back the opening date for that one for 6 months. They were originally supposed to. They were originally supposed to open in December '76. They ended up moving it to May '77.
Yeah,
So, but
that's crazy.
that's what it is. But you're right. Often sound, the editing together of
The
images,
color, the light,
the
how
light.
this is sometimes so horrible. And I must say, that's what I love about Ukrainian verticals. The editors, the whole departments, it doesn't matter if it's the music editing or the film editing, they do such a great job because, like I said, the lights, the color of these verticals, because there are often verticals which are very bright, or those stupid noises they put in, yeah, a boing sound or a meow or whatever. It's so unnecessary. And I talked to Bogdan, and he is a film editor at Amo Pictures, and he said usually they do sounds like that to get the attention of the viewer. And I said, if you need to use something like that, then you should think about that your story sucks and the show sucks if the viewer is not all into the vertical and doing something else beside that to need the attention back. You know, this is crazy. And that's what I really love about Ukrainian verticals. And yeah, I mentioned it so often. Most of the crew members in Ukraine are coming from the cinema or Ukrainian TV shows. So they
Well,
know how to do something cinematic.
I've always admired the European film and cinema and TV sort of mindset, which has always been let's create something good. And I subscribe a lot to when it comes to seasons and stuff like that. I subscribe to what I call the European model, and I might get some flack for this, but this is just me, which is a lot of European shows, first of all, don't run for very long and don't have a lot of episodes. They're great series, but they just don't run very long. But they generally have the attitude of if we can't do as good or better on the next one, let's just stop.
Yeah.
End it while it's good. British television in particular is very like that, where they're willing to say, hey, we've done our 2 seasons. We thought they were great. We're done.
Yeah. You always should finish if it's at the best time.
Exactly. Well, and unfortunately, American television is kind of notorious for they will hemorrhage what they can get out of their TV series. And unfortunately, that leads to a lot of their TV series, especially sitcoms, they don't end. They're canceled because and they end always they kind of end on a weird note because it's like, oh, we didn't get the notice we were going to get canceled or anything like that. So they just
Yeah.
stop. Or in the case of like one of the most famous with the Big Bang Theory was that
Oh, I love
they
the show.
they only had 6 months to wrap up the entire season because Jim Parsons, who plays Sheldon, basically announced kind of on a whim that's like, hey, I'm done. And they went, oh crap, we were gonna do 3 more seasons. We have to finish this off.
Yeah.
We have to finish it off. We have 6 months. We've only got 6 months to get a finale, which
Oh,
for a
Lord.
sitcom is very harsh. All right, because you
Yeah.
write several episodes in advance and stuff like that. So it's like, uh-oh, well, we got to change this, we got to change this, we got to change this.
Yeah. I love
So,
the show. They showed it here on TV every
mhm.
single day, and you could
Oh
see
yes.
all the time. But it's also here in Germany, we have a soap opera. They started
Mhm.
it in 1992, and it's
Yep.
still.
Well, I mean, we've got what have we got? We got General Hospital, we've got Days of Our Lives, we have The Young and Restless. They're still going.
Yeah,
They're
we
still.
used to have General Hospital here, but many years ago they stopped showing it here.
Mhm.
No,
So, but that's what I'd also like to see. I applied for something recently where it would be a 3-season vertical. So I think what they mean by 3 seasons as in it's 3 separate projects and they're going to put them
yeah.
all together, which would be awesome. That would be amazing.
Oh, do you remember for which app it is? Was it for
I
Candy
don't
Jar?
remember off the top of my head, unfortunately.
For example, for Candy Jar, they have a lot of sequels.
I would love to work with Candy Jar because they seem to produce incredibly good production work, and they've been
Yeah.
doing so very consistently. I have set. I don't think I've ever worked with them, which is a huge shame because I hear nothing but good things about them, and I really would love to work with them. And the sequels aspect, even stuff that I'd be a part of or I like to create. Because the thing is about verticals, a lot of times the villains don't die. The villains are still around. They get arrested or they get thrown out, but they're still out there.
Yeah, but mostly someone get killed and nobody get arrested. So I said, what the heck? But
Yeah.
did you know that Candy Jar is a German company that's based in Berlin?
No, that's wonderful.
But unfortunately, they don't shoot here in Germany. And I just recently heard and they opened an office in LA.
They shoot verticals in Berlin or in Germany
No,
very.
no, Candy Jar is not, they are not shooting here, but the
You
company
think
is
it's
based
you
here.
think still though, you think I mean Berlin's a good location.
Definitely. And
I've
I
been there. I've been there. It's a wonderful city. I don't know why they wouldn't take advantage of it, but maybe that's just me.
And we have great film studios there. And I mean, even close outside of Berlin in Potsdam,
Mhm.
they have the film studio
I was
Babelsberg.
going to say, well, Potsdam's one of the top film studios in Europe. I think that's where they shoot a lot of
Yes. For
they,
example,
they shoot a lot of Central Europe.
while we had
So
ex-East Germany and the wall still being up, many of
mm,
amazing movies got shot in Babelsberg and Potsdam Babelsberg in the film studios.
mhm,
And a lot of historical stuff as well, and they are
mhm.
pretty good. And here in Germany, they're starting to shoot verticals as well.
Let Bring me on. I'd love to go. I've been to Berlin. I would love to go back. It's such a beautiful city.
Yeah, they're not just they. I guess right now they don't shoot in Berlin. It's more in Munich.
I've also been in Munich, but I haven't been there for very long, so I'm due for a comeback anyway.
Yeah, and in somewhere else in the south as well. They
Hmm.
shooting. Well, let's say it this way. A few weeks ago, they had the first casting call, and in my eyes, it was not really a good choice because they were looking for influencer with a special amount of followers.
Okay.
Acting skills doesn't matter, and it was a German. And then they had another casting call for actors who speaks English. They shooting in German and in English,
Ooh,
different projects.
ooh, I'd love to.
Uh,
I'd love to check that out. That'd be fun.
and but they were seeking for an audience in the age of 14 to 28. And I said, this is not gonna work. This don't gonna work because
Here's the thing, and here's my point of view with the influencers, and where this is why you need to be careful. Many of these influencers are not actors, and
not
that's
at all.
not and where the issue is that they've got the audience
Yes.
built in, which is useful. I'm not going to be coy about it. It is very useful. The problem is that trying to teach someone to act on the fly when you have so little time
Yes.
is very hard. And that
And it's
that's the primary reason I'm usually very against hiring influencers. Now, mind you, there are exceptions.
sure.
I'm not gonna
Sure.
blanket everything. But that's the biggest problem with influencers. That's like you need them to perform these really intense scenes sometimes, and they don't know how to do it.
Right.
They haven't had any acting lessons. They haven't had even private coaching. Well, again, it's less that they can't do it, it's that you need them to do it fast. You
Yeah.
don't have time. You don't have time to teach.
That's a problem. And for me, it's always have the taste of a reality show.
That's funny enough. They are trying to shoot some vertical reality
I don't
shows.
like them at all. I'm not
I know there's not very many, but they are out there.
I know, and I'm not watching them because for me, this is always, if, for example, I'm not watching TV since 2.5, 3 years no more. But while I watched TV and they had reality shows, I always were sitting in front of the TV and said, "Oh my God, how stupid can you be?" And this is so
Well,
exciting. And
in fairness, right now with America, especially, is with the riot with streaming taking over, reality shows became the thing. They're starting to slowly disappear, but for a long time they were it because they were easy, they're easy to shoot. They're really
yeah,
you don't need super talented or skilled performers to shoot reality television.
just just some stupid troublemakers.
Yeah, they are definitely the most. It's funny actually. Survivor is kind of famous for that because so I still watch Survivor. I think I got to watch this latest season. I just haven't gotten around to it. But the one of the most famous members, Russell Hands, he was a troublemaker. The studio loves him because he's so entertaining. They love him. They've tried to put him back. I think they've tried to put him back 3 or 4 times in different parts of Survivor, not just Survivor the USA. I think they did one Survivor Australia, and I think he did one other, but don't quote me on that. He was the first person voted out because the players and a lot of the fans didn't like him. They were like, "Nope, we are not playing with this guy. He's a bully. He's an asshole. He's very sexist. We're done with him." And
Yeah.
he's like the first one out there because again, they just and the problem is the studio's trying to do all its power to like, no, 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 no. We love this guy. We love this guy. And the fans and the contestants are like, beat that. We are not dealing with him.
Yeah.
There is that very nasty disconnect of what does the studio want? What do the fans want? And more
Yeah.
often than not, they don't match.
And many of these shows are staged anyway.
Yes.
They get rules.
That too. That too.
But anyway, let's get back to verticals because they are more interesting than any
Yeah.
reality show.
Yes. Well, their reality show. They're the fantasy, and that's honestly is the great appeal of verticals is that they are fantasy. They are escapism, and in today's world right now, we need that. That
Really, life is hard enough.
we need stories where good triumphs, and
Yeah.
sometimes we need one where the fantasy of being swept up on your feet is there. That's just life.
Many of the audience watching verticals to escape something, and
Mhm.
myself also. I have depressions and have anxieties, and if I have
Same.
a panic attack, I'm watching a vertical to
Mhm.
calm myself down.
Right.
Um, But another subject, for example, in Ukraine, they have kind of, not just kind of, they have a huge problem because, for example, the ladies are allowed to leave the country, but
They said they are not allowed to leave the country.
the ladies are allowed to leave the country, but the men in the age of 25 to 60 are not allowed to leave the country.
Yes.
It always could be possible that they get mobilized to serve their country.
Hmm.
And that's what happened in the past often, that actors got booked for a show and they were on the way to the set and got stopped by the military recruitment and got mobilized. And they had to rewrite the script, get another actor, and so
So bad.
on. And recently we had an actor, he was missing, and his wife or girlfriend, I don't know what the status is in between them, and she posted something that he is now serving in the country.
Damn. That's insane. So wow. Very
Yeah.
real.
And that's why I always can recommend on my YouTube channel. There are 2 episodes of a conversation with Bogdan Bazenko.
Hmm.
He's a radical actor as well. Mostly, I guess he had only in one pilot project a leading role. The rest is always an antagonist or a
Hmm.
supporting role. But he got mobilized last year in August. And shortly before Christmas, we still recorded something because we planned actually in August to record an episode, and he had to cancel it because he had to go to the military. And but we spoke a long time, and it's a really interesting interview I had with him, and it's actually so far my most memorable and intense and great interview I had so far. And
Mhm.
I had to post these episodes for people in the age of 18 plus, because we spoke about some subjects which is not made for younger audience. And I don't want to repeat it here, but if you want to take a look, because we spoke just a little bit about his acting career, but then
Mhm.
we went over to what's going on in Ukraine, because media don't always show something.
No, they don't.
We got the info out of first hand, and then he told us what happened, that he got mobilized and how the training camp been, and how he's doing, and what's going on right now at the position where he is with his unit, and what happened to his brother because he got injured
Damn.
during the war. And we spoke also about mental health of soldiers, veterans, but also people like me. And
Mhm.
it was a very intense, emotional, and absolute amazing conversation which I had with him.
Mhm. I feel the
So
same way. I have ADHD. I have anxiety. I have depression, mild anxiety and mild depression, but it is still there. And sometimes when you spiral, you go to very, very dark places.
oh,
You go to
I've
some
been
very,
there.
very dark places, and you need something to pull you out of it. And ironically, they say, "Oh, you need a reality check." Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you kind of need the opposite.
I can tell
Yeah.
you, I had times where I couldn't even leave my apartment. If I
Hmm.
even heard someone walking in the at the stairways, I hid in my apartment, being all
Wow.
quiet, and was really bad. And it's got better, definitely. And I must say
Rush.
it again.
I said, oh yes.
And I must admit, verticals helped me a lot not to go insane in total. Watching verticals to escape something, but also my fandom work helps me a lot not to go insane. And I mean, right now I can slow down a bit because we are on a good pace, because I'm not doing it all alone no more. Because on some
Hmm.
point I needed some help, because I have at the moment 211 actors and actresses in my fandom where I'm providing the filmographies and
Hmm.
so many more stuff. So I needed some help, and I have some great ladies. By the way, shout out to Carmen, Kiki, Sandy, Nicole, and Christina. Thank you, girls. Love you. And no, and on some days I work 12 to 15 hours straight on my fandom work to build it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And this is what helped me a lot. And I have to
Hmm.
thank the whole vertical space for that.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Plus the amazing community which we have. Sure, there are
Yeah,
always here and there some black sheeps, but all over the most people in this community are amazing. And I met so many great people around the world, which I can call now friends.
that's so wonderful. That's so
Yeah.
great. And
No,
that's kind of what I do hope is that the vertical community is very interesting because there are times where people are like the best of friends, but they're also sometimes things happen.
yeah,
And it's more a matter of remember that we're here for a job, we're here to make art, and we're here to have fun. And
definitely.
I do want to thank all of I said this at the ceremony, but I want to say it again here, which is every single one of you fans. We have jobs. I have a job because you guys have made these. You fell in love with these. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for breathing new life into the film industry because it's hard. It's hard. They're Hollywood is transforming and it's stagnating a little bit right now. And verticals were a bit of a breath of fresh air where no one thought that they were going to catch on, and yet they did because despite what the studios constantly try to preach about nostalgia, new things are needed. And I say that with everything. That's why I like the new apps that are coming out, which is they're willing to take chances on different projects and on different ideas because they always need fresh ones. They always the market and the market has to evolve with the audience because the audience will get sick of the same thing. You got to keep you have to do more. You have to deliver something a little different. It doesn't have to be that different, but it has to be different
Yeah,
because that's stale.
And I mean that the stories are repeating themselves all the time. For example, the reason why apps and production companies are doing it because they're looking for new audience. And if there was a story, they can't always keep up this story, which got released maybe 2 months ago. There's new
Well,
audience.
or the worst is you get or you get the opposite, which is you're dealing with these apps, their algorithm. I think I said this last time, but they said that sometimes the algorithm gets so ingrained into the
Yeah,
system that trying to get something new is impossible. And so they just won't try it. But then their numbers will stagnate anyway because we've seen this 10 times before or 20 times before. Where's where's the originality?
yeah,
Where's the new life? Even recasting it and calling it the same thing. That apparently is also very, very common, which is companies apps will take something that was hot on another one and they say, let's just change the name by one word and give it a new cast and
yeah.
try to copy it. And whether it hits or not is kind of a flip of the coin. But it is an issue where it's like you want new stories, and this is just in general for Hollywood and entertainment right now, which is people want new stories, but
Yeah.
those making the decisions don't.
They don't want to take the risk. And let's say this way, sometimes we've seen stories, especially if the verticals came from America. There are so many shows which have the same subject, just a different cast. And on some point, we viewers could start talking or saying all the lines because we've seen the story so often.
Mhm.
Sometimes we
Wow.
turn on a vertical, and in the second episode, we already recognize the subject of the show,
Mhm.
and we can turn it off because we're getting bored by watching like that.
I've heard,
And
I've even cases where literally they send the same script. Literally, they are
yeah,
sending the same script and changing maybe one or two words at
yeah,
most of a line, and they literally do a shot for shot remake. And I'm like, that's tricky. That's tricky. That is something where it's like, no, you want to try new things. I'm trying to do new things, but I need to work on discipline and mindset. That is my
yeah.
biggest enemy. Is the
Oh,
self
I believe that.
that's my biggest enemy is these self-imposed limits on what I can do. And getting out of your own way is the key to success.
It's the same with going to a gym. I'm always impressed
Mhm.
how you guys have to work out to have the bodies like we always.
Mhm. Some of these guys they have literally donated their entire lives to going to the gym. They do nothing
That's a
else.
lifestyle. It's not a
That
hobby,
is a
it's
that
a
is a complete
lifestyle.
lifestyle. And hey, you do it, you do it. That's just if you can do it. I'm not gonna.
I should
It's
do more.
hard.
I should do more in the gym as well, but maybe the saying, the toughest lift of all is to get the ass off the couch.
It is, honestly. That is my thing where it's like once you get started, it's once you're actually at the gym and you're fine. And now I have an actual workout program and it's very simple, but it's stick to it. And that's the key. That's what it's about. It's both frustratingly cliche where you're not going to see the performance. So you're not going to see the changes or improvements overnight. But you
Yeah.
will see it, if you're consistent. And it's so cliche. Or you just do the easy, or you just do what a lot of Hollywood stars do is you just take steroids.
Unfortunately, unfortunately,
Make of that what you will.
everyone can do whatever they want to, but it's not the right way. And I can understand that you guys need this for your job, but it's pretty hard work what you are doing there. And I'm always impressed also. I'm always impressed today. I'm sorry for repeating this word so often, but it is
Hmm.
like it is that you are for so many hours on set, have to learn your lines for the next day, but still have the time to go to the gym.
Yep. It is a
I'm
lifestyle.
and I'm always asking myself, is your day longer than 24 hours?
Seriously. Which is ironic because sleep is such a huge health
Oh,
issue. You
yeah.
need sleep,
Sleep is a luxury.
but it shouldn't be. It
I
should be a
know.
requirement.
I
So,
know. It's the same after our watch party, which we had for the Vertical Drama Love Fan Awards.
mhm.
I slept 2 hours and then I woke up again.
Yes, I had set the next day. So I had to take some drugs to knock myself out because I knew that it's like I'm not going to be able to wire myself down to sleep. So I need something that's going to knock me out. And I was fine, but then the moment I got home yesterday, so today's my day off from that, and again I go back again tomorrow. I took a 2 hour nap when I got home. I was so tired, but it's what you need. It's what you need.
And sometimes it's crazy if you are so, how do you say it in English? If you overstep the point that you are so damn tired that you can't even sleep no more. But sometimes, as soon as your head hit the pillow, you are done.
Well, one of the aspects that actually it's very, very tricky in terms of sleep, especially if you're coming from set, is what you can get home very, very late at night and you're exhausted, but you can't really go to sleep. Your brain has to sort of, I call it decommissioning.
Yeah.
You need an hour or two to decommission to get your brain to calm down enough to where it's like, oh, I
Now
can
you
sleep
can
now.
come down, and
Now
now
you have to come down, and that's tricky. And that's I think is the real danger where it's like, I just did 7 to 7, and I need to go to bed, and I need to go to bed by 11, but I've got stuff to do. I got to go to the gym, and I got to do that. Sometimes we'll have auditions. Like today,
yeah.
I got to do 3 auditions after this interview. I'm pretty much doing 3 auditions.
Wow.
That's
So I
that's
cross my
nice.
fingers that you get the roles. And
Me too. Me too. Because some of these would be really fun. These would be really fun roles.
ooh, we need more
So
comedy.
that's what I like is that it's like when they're fun, when they're fun characters, you get to sort of act. You get paid to play pretend. How awesome is that? You're going to pretend the childhood fantasy.
How you get the information about for what roles you're gonna audition? Do you have a manager or an agent who's saying, "Hey, here's a role. Maybe you."
I do have an agent. I do have an agent, and they do send me out, but most of it is self submission. To be perfectly honest, a lot. In fact, I would say 90% of it is self submission, and so you get those auditions, and they normally encourage you because they review them on as they come in. You generally want to do them as quickly as possible, but sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you just can't. Either you're on set for a long time, or you're so exhausted and you're so out of that. I'm not going to be able to perform. And sometimes you have to make a sacrifice, and sometimes that's the cost. It's funny how working can sometimes hurt your ability to get the next job. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're so tired you don't give an F, so you just do it. And oh, that's exactly what we were looking for. Boom.
You never know what they are
You
really
never
looking
do.
for.
Well, and that's the and I one thing that casting has always told me is that it's not personal. I in the vertical world I can disagree a little bit where it is a bit personal, but in general it's not. There are so many factors that go into how and why you are cast.
Are you or your agent checking out? I don't know. I don't know about something like that, but I guess there's a page. It's called Actors Access or something. Do you take a look?
Yes, that's 90% of I get 90% of my auditions is through Actors Access. Access, all three of the ones that I have to do. I think I actually have to do a fourth one. All three of them are through Actors Access. And they're all due tomorrow. They're all due tomorrow. You got to do them. You got to do them. That's
Are you only looking for? No, let me say it in a different way. Are you looking for leading roles as well? And
oh heck yes. Hell yes, I'm going for leading roles. I wish I am my career has hit the ceiling. So I need to hit go a little bit above. I've never been a lead before. I do try out for them. I believe I would be an excellent fit. I am an excellent fit because I have the acting chops for them, but I'm not what they're looking for in terms of looks most of the time. That's
that's actually sad because there are so many talents out there, and they are just going for one stereotype, which they want to see in the leading role, and that's actually sad. And I just can say, production companies, directors, casting directors, but also all these apps. Look at this guy. He need a leading role.
Thank you.
And the reason why we both are talking, you already applied, I guess, to Amo Pictures.
Yes, unfortunately, they have not reached out, but I would love to. I would love to work with them. I
Yeah,
would
I
love to
will.
either here in LA, Canada, UK, or in Kiev. I would
Yeah,
love to go. I'd be happy to go.
I
So
will remind them.
thank you.
I will
Truly.
remind them. And for maybe other actors who watching us here, I will post again a call of Armo Pictures that they are looking for actors from abroad, and not just
Mhm.
male actors. Also,
Mhm.
females can apply. Ladies, if you go there, you will enjoy it. You really will
Mhm.
enjoy it. And I
Absolutely.
mean, just there are so many actors from abroad who've been there already, and they
Mhm.
did a great job, and all want to go back because they enjoyed the time there, even
Absolutely.
if some nights be very loud and scary, but
Hmm.
they would love to go back. And this tells you everything about it. And it's not just the country, it's also the people who are in Kiev, for example. They are amazing. And believe me, if I would have the financial opportunity, I would go there immediately. I would go there immediately, and I don't care about the war. Or, I would love to go there.
It's a beautiful city, I've heard.
The whole country is beautiful. I've never been in Ukraine, but I've seen a lot
Me
of
neither.
videos and pictures. And I'm not a religious person, but did you see the churches in Kiev?
Oh
With
yes, I'm not a religious person either. I'm agnostic, but I always appreciate the artwork. I appreciate
yeah,
the designs and stuff like that. Again,
and
you go to Europe, you're going to see a lot of churches, and they're some of them are incredible.
And Ukrainian people are handsome and beautiful. Did you
Mm.
seen maybe the ladies from Ukraine? And
Oh
I,
yes,
I'm,
yes.
al I'm always jealous about the hair.
I've dated a couple. I've dated a couple Ukrainian ladies.
Ooh.
Incredibly beautiful, beautiful, and very kind. Very, very kind. So,
I always, guys, I sound like a LP, but I always can say I didn't just fell in love with Ukrainian verticals. I fell in love with the country, even if I never been there. But take a look at pictures and videos. And but most
yeah,
of all, I fell in love with Ukrainian people. They are
that's
amazing. You just
wonderful.
can love them.
That's
So,
wonderful.
Evan,
Yes.
I know Nero had some needs.
Hmm.
Is there anything what you want to know or what you want to tell to the audience or to the Ukrainian production teams?
I'm ready.
He's
I'm
ready.
ready.
So,
I'm ready to work with you guys. I would love to do so. And I like what you are all creating. I like what I'm seeing and I want to be a part of it. And I would love to help as a writer, as a creator, and as an actor. I can even help as casting, but that's what
great.
I want to offer it to you. But I would love to work with you all. And I love everything that really love what you're doing. Again, especially those phenomenal period pieces. I'm a sucker for those. When I see a good period piece, you've got me. I'm ready to work with you. I have a very solid following in terms of numbers. I'm a veteran of over 50 of these at these points. I'm just about to wrap another one. I audition 10 plus times a week. So I know what I'm doing and
Yeah.
I'm very, very good at it.
So,
I can bring depth, I can bring comedy, I can bring fear, I can bring intensity, and I'm a chameleon. More than almost any actor in the, and I don't mean to humble brag here, but almost more than any actor in the vertical world, I'm a chameleon. I can become whatever you want me to become, and I can do it on a whim. That's where that training comes in. That is the value of acting training. It's that you're able to hone these like a muscle, like a direction like that.
especially since I'm forwarding these infos to Amo Pictures. Amo,
Mhm.
he is your guy.
I am your guy.
Um,
I am your guy. Also, I'm tall.
how
I'm
tall are
tall.
you?
I'm 187 centimeters.
Maybe I saw a difference between American actors and actors from Ukraine. Sometimes these actors from Ukraine seems a little bit smaller, but still big enough because the ladies are always tiny. But we will see where this is going.
We'll see what happens. See what
Yeah, and
happens.
I will cross my fingers, and I can tell to the audience if you want to see Evan, for example, in a Ukrainian production. We don't know if it helps, but reach out to My Drama Shirts,
Mhm.
Amo Pictures, and all the other apps, and ask them you want to see Evan. And if
Yeah,
there are enough people who wants
right.
to
And
see you,
right.
maybe they say there must be something about this guy. We should take him. Cross your fingers, guys. And
It's everybody.
my dear,
Thank you.
I wish you a great rest day off.
Thank you.
And it was a pleasure talking to you.
It was an absolute honor. Thank you so much. You were the absolute sweetest. Technical difficulties aside, this was phenomenal. Thank you so
Yes.
much. I'm glad that we were able to do a part two. Too. It was
Yeah,
needed.
definitely. And I always can say if there is someday maybe a production where you're working on where a Ukrainian production team is involved, let me
Mhm.
know, and maybe we can talk about the shows which are coming out. I would love to.
I can even talk about the experiences of Ukrainian versus mind you, I haven't worked in China, but I mean, obviously, a lot of the companies are Chinese, and then an American production, kind of see how are each different, or how are they the same? Thank you, Bianca. Have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye.